This is how you can endure hard things as a kingdom builder. What's up, y'all? This your girl, Coach NaQuandra, and welcome to my YouTube channel.
Okay, let's go.
Today we're doing Bible study, and we're going to be talking about Paul. So, Paul, we already know he is one of the realest out here in the biblical streets, right? And he had got his anointing in a place where he was on his way persecuting the people of God, throwing them in jails, taking them, dragging them, doing all that he could because he had a zeal for the law. He was a Pharisee, right? And he truly believed in the law. And he could not get with the way, which was Christianity or Jesus' way at that time. But you know, the Lord stopped him on the Damascus Road and gave him an encounter, and he radically changed his ways. So I see it as the same intensity that Paul had to persecute Christians. He had that same intensity with teaching people about the way, teaching people about Jesus, especially bringing Gentiles into the fold, right? And so what we're going to sit on specifically is Paul on his way to Rome to go and plead his case before Caesar. Because at this point in Acts chapter 27, the people were very upset with him. And by the people, I mean the religious Jews, the Pharisaical and the Sadducee Jews were very upset with Paul. They could not believe the things that he was teaching and preaching. They just couldn't get jiggy with Jesus coming back to life. They couldn't get jiggy with the Gentiles being a part of the body. They couldn't get jiggy with it, and they wanted him gone. And so they began to plot, they began to lie, they began to throw schemes against him, right? And so at this point he got thrown in jail, and he's been going in between jails, pleading his case to many different kings, and then finally appealing to Caesar, and he gets to go before Caesar. So they get on this boat to go to Caesar and ended up in a storm that was between 14 and 19 days. And the storm was so treacherous, they started throwing stuff overboard. They weren't eating because they were so scared about what was going to happen. They literally thought they were going to die. But Paul said in the middle of the storm, Paul said, listen, we're not going to die because God has purpose for me to do, right? And so you with me, you're going to live too, but we are going to have to get rid of this boat. See, the Lord had already confirmed, Paul, this is where I need you to go. You are going to appeal to Caesar. And Paul said there was an angel in the night that came and confirmed to him again. And so Paul had this confidence as he was going. And so if you look at the events from of Paul in his life, you see he had to endure many hard things. Although in his zeal and his passion, his desire to preach the gospel now was good hearted, he was doing the right thing. It was listed and ordained by God from his mouth himself to go and preach this gospel, go and proclaim the good news, right? He still had to go through hard things. Like I said, he was put in prison. People plotted against him. He's and when I say put in prison, it wasn't just a day and he got bonded out. He had stayed in prison for years and had to plead his case to these different kings. It's like, imagine that you're getting punished for doing what God told you to do. Imagine this. Imagine that you're sitting in a jail because God told you to do something, and now you're getting punished, and you're not living this thriving life. Like, that's our problem. We get in the place where we have this zeal for what God told us to do, and then it gets hard, and now we don't think that God wanted us to do it anymore. Paul sat in jail and did what he needed to do until God brought him to the next place. And then God brought him to the next place. And then God brought him to the next place. So the scripture that complements this is James chapter 1, verse 4, where it says, let patience have its perfect work in you. We need to learn patience. The way that we're going to endure hard things is to learn patience. It says, let patience have its work in you that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Why? Because haste makes mistakes, and haste will have you pivoting when you need to be praying and waiting on the Lord, when you need to be waiting and being patient. Sometimes your pivot is not because you got this new idea or sometimes you pivot just because you want to get out of an uncomfortable situation. Sometimes you pivot because you might see a faster route compared to the route that God put you on, right? And so I want to share this experience that I had today because sometimes pivoting just makes sense. But this is where the Lord spoke to me through an experience. So I'm sitting in the restaurant and I am reading a book. And a lady comes over to me and she's like, hey, listen, I just ordered this drink. It's a iced latte, something, something, and you can have it. I can't sit here and wait for it to get done. I have to go to work. I'm going to be late for work. It's under this name and you can have it when it comes out. And so I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. And she was like, yeah, don't worry about it. You can have it. It's the same size as the coffee that you have now, and you can have it. And as soon as she said that, the barista said, so and so, your order's ready. So as soon as she was getting ready to give up something that she paid money for me in order to make it to work on time for a convenience, right? And so although we could, of course we have to be at work on time, but listen to this analogy. She had everything she paid for except for that one thing. Some of you are on the cusp of your explosion. You're on the cuff of your breakthrough. You're on the cuff of your next level, and you're just waiting on this one thing. You might not even know what the one thing is, but it may be something that God is preparing in you. It may be relationships that God is building outside of you in the community where He's putting your name in the people's mouth so that this door is about to open for you. But because you are impatient and cannot wait, you're getting ready to pivot and give up the thing, and you're right here on the cusp of receiving the next blessing. You're right on the cusp of receiving the next key to this journey you're on as you're building for the kingdom. So I want to urge you, the way to endure hard things is to let patience have its perfect work in you. Keep your eye on the Lord, right? And let him guide your steps in this season. Don't be so easy to or quick to pivot because it's more comfortable, it's more convenient, it's more exciting, right? I used to be the queen of pivoting when it came to business ventures, especially when I first started, because I just wanted to figure out what I could do. And so the first thing that the Lord put before me, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And it got hard and the girl was out of there. The next thing I tried, the first thing I tried was t-shirts, right? I did that for a long time. No, first thing I did was masks. I started all this during the pandemic. I was making masks, selling the masks out to the people, giving them out for free. And then I was like, why am I doing this for free? This is costing me money. I'm going to start charging. I'm still booming, 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 booming. I'm selling through the Nextdoor app. I'm selling on Etsy, right? And then so we got the mask on, and then I add the t-shirts in. And so I'm making custom t-shirts, and then the custom t-shirts got hard, right? And so people were asking for all these intricate designs, and I didn't have like a DTF printer. I had a Cricut machine. And this lady, listen, I done told this story before, but this lady wanted me to put fire on a t-shirt using vinyl. And I did it, fire and smoke. I did it. And I wish I could see the shirt today, because I'm just like, I wonder what that looked like. It probably looked so bad. But after that order, I said, I'm not doing any more custom orders. It's getting ridiculous. I'm like, because it was stretching me. But at the time, I didn't have the language to what stretching was, or what that looked like, or how it felt. So I just thought it was hard and that I couldn't do it. And so I quit. Right. And so from there, I quit, and I was like, I'm just going to sell my t-shirts. So I started making my t-shirt designs, and they were all faith-based things, and I just will only sell those. Like, let me get rid of this stress. Let me simplify this, because this is too much. It's too hard. And so I went that vein, and I was doing good for a little bit, and then it just kind of died off because it was getting hard doing the marketing and getting people interested, and da 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 da. And then I pivoted to something else, and then one day the Lord showed me on my walk, like, NaQuandra, you keep cutting these corners. You're not giving anything space to grow. Just because it got hard doesn't mean you quit, right? So again, how do you do hard things as a kingdom builder, right? The number one, this is a fruit of the spirit. This is a virtue that you need to possess. Patience. Let patience have its perfect work, so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Okay, so there's many other things we can do, but the main thing is patience, to let patience have its perfect work. So I hope that this one key was helpful for you. And even for those of you who are running a race, building right now in a hectic season, that it would encourage you to put your foot on the brake, slow down a little bit with your mind racing, slow down a little bit with running with that worry and that stress and that anxiety, slow down and look at God, and make sure that your gaze is set on him and not the concern. Make sure your gaze is set on him and not the need, because if you're more focused on the need, the concern, the worry than you are him, then that's the thing that's guiding your footsteps, and we don't want that. We don't want that for you, because we need your kingdom business. We need your podcast. We need your community. We need your book. We need your products. We need your classes. We need your offices. We need your printing companies. We need your everything. We need your tech company. We need your architect company. We need your retail properties. We need your construction businesses. We need your landscape business. We need your mechanic shops. We need all of that in the kingdom. We need it. We need your restaurants. We need your coffee shop. We need your bookstore. So don't quit, but let patience have its perfect work.